Hi, this is Wasabi. Hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about Reddit. Yeah, it's not going so well. It's definitely not going well. It is, I feel like this is something that's been a long time coming. You've already seen it happen with Twitter recently. And if you've been on this channel long enough, then you know I don't like Twitter. I detest Twitter. I think it's run by a fucking moron. But today I'm not here to shit talk Twitter more than it needs to be. I'm here to talk about Reddit and the bad decision that they're making. Because it's a pretty big one. Depending on how much you use Reddit, you're going to be upset with this. All right, let's be honest here. Everyone pretty much uses Reddit. If you ever have to look up a question, you go to Google, you type in how to fix X problem, then you put Reddit at the end of it, and then you get a whole bunch of search results that are all for Reddit, because using Google to actually figure out an answer to your problem is useless. They don't give you anything that's worthwhile. It's pretty much just a bunch of clickbait garbage, and all the websites don't offer anything. So you have to actually go to Reddit and go to some obscene post that's no one's ever looked at in like 5 years to get an answer to a problem that you're having out of nowhere. And that's a big reason why people enjoy and like Reddit. And to add on top of that, a lot of people use Reddit on the go. They all got smartphones, iPhones, Androids. What's the other phones out there? Linux phone? Yeah, people use all that shit. And so, what do you do when you want to use Reddit on the go? You install the mobile app, because let's be real, who's going to actually use the mobile web browser on your phone to go browse reddit.com? I'm sure some exist, but a majority of people use the mobile app, whether it's Reddit's official app or the third-party apps like Reddit is Fun, Apollo. I think Relay for Reddit still exists. I used to use that when I was on Android. But the point is, people love Reddit. People use it all the time. And a lot of people use it on the phone. And now it's about to go away. All those third-party apps, if you happen to use any app that's not the official Reddit app, it's gone pretty much. It's not about to happen yet, but it's going to happen at the beginning of July. So yesterday, one of the biggest developers for the app Apollo, you may have used it. It's on iOS, one of the greatest apps. I use it pretty much every day. Not to be a sponsor for it, but it's really great. It's a fucking great app. This is why I am so personally attacked by this for what Reddit is doing, because I enjoy the app so much. But yesterday they made a post that said, had a call with Reddit to discuss pricing. Bad news for third-party apps. Their announced pricing is close to Twitter's pricing, and Apollo would have to pay Reddit $20 million per year to keep running as it is. Now you might have heard that price. I'm like, whoa, $20 million? For just accessing Reddit? Yeah, apparently Reddit justifies that the calls that the app. So okay, let me break it down a little bit. Let me break it down a little bit more for you. So when I use my phone over here and I go on Reddit and I access any part of Reddit, it makes a call to Reddit servers to the API. Now, granted, I'm not super technical on this. I don't really even understand it as much myself. I'm trying the best that I can. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But the way it works is I use Reddit, I use Apollo, and it makes a request to reddit.com for whatever action that I'm doing. That's making a call. And so you multiply me times a million other people, and then all the people that are using the app, that is making calls over and over and over to Reddit's own API. And I guess for whatever it does in terms of relaying that information back, because it costs money to upkeep all that, it becomes a lot of money. But for a lot of people, they don't think it's $20 million worth. Now, you might be wondering, how did Apollo Dev actually get to that price? We'll get to that in a second. But now Reddit has decided to follow in Twitter's footsteps and have an exuberant price to access their API to allow people to use third-party apps and be able to not have to use the actual main app itself. So the dev starts off by saying, I'll cut to the chase. 50 million requests cost $12,000, a figure far more than I could ever imagine. Apollo made 7 billion requests last month, which would put it at $1.7 million per month, or $20 million per year. Even if I kept the subscription users, the average Apollo user uses 344 requests per day, which would cost $2.50 per month, which is over double what the subscription currently costs. So I would be in the red every month. They continue on by saying, I'm deeply disappointed in this price. Reddit iterated that the price would be A, reasonable and based in reality, and B, they would not operate like Twitter. Twitter operates at an obscene price for $42,000 for 50 million tweets. Reddit is still $12,000. For reference, I pay Imgur, a site similar to Reddit in user base and media, $166 for the same 50 million API calls. And that's where a lot of the crazy shit comes in. Now, I've covered Twitter in the past, and I've talked about how they have, I think it's $1,000 for a gold check mark just to have on your account if you're a business. I think it's actually higher. I could be wrong. But pretty much we're at a point where companies don't want to have third-party apps anymore, and they want all the users on the main app themselves. Because guess what? When users aren't using the main app, they're not being served ads. They're not being tracked. Reddit pretty much doesn't have control of those users. Same for Twitter. And that's actually a pretty big deal. Because you got to remember, at the end of the day, whether people want to admit it or not, when it comes to using a site like Reddit that's free, Ads are pretty much what keeps it alive. Let's be real here. Without ads, it doesn't stay alive. It's like YouTube. We've discussed this in the past. YouTube needs to play ads. YouTube needs ads in general. You don't like it, too bad. Pay for YouTube Premium. If it's too much, all right, it is what it is. But to realize the free service that you use, it costs money. And how does these companies get their money back? They play ads. They have ads running all through this shit. And so when you have third-party apps like Apollo or Reddit is Fun or Relay for Fun or Relay for Reddit, there are no ads. We don't see ads at all. And so that's less money that Reddit is getting in their pocket. And that's actually a lot of money they're losing. And so then it becomes a situation where you have to question, is it worth still keeping these apps around? Is there any actual benefit? If these users who have been using third-party apps all the time, if they don't convert over to our app, are we going to lose any real money in the long term, considering that we were never getting money out of them to begin with, other than that they were users using our service? And then on the other hand, then you got people who are like, well, I use Reddit all the time. If it wasn't for me posting, their website wouldn't even exist. Which, technically, yes, it feels back in the day. But there's so many goddamn people who use Reddit that it doesn't really matter as much anymore. If all the people who use third-party apps vanished today, I guarantee it probably wouldn't make that much of a dent, because a lot of people are still going to use Reddit anyway. If they're not using it on their phone, like for me, you get rid of the Apollo app, I guess I'll use Reddit on my computer. I won't be on Reddit as much as I used to, but I'm going to still use Reddit. It's pretty much like Reddit is to me my addiction as Twitter is to people and their addiction. You can't break Reddit away from me. The only way you get rid of Reddit for me is if you shut it down. I will not leave. You will fuck up my app experience. I can't use it on my phone, but you bet your ass I'm still gonna use that desktop version. I will make it work, but I will not leave. So that's pretty much the situation I feel a lot of people are going to be in. And so to Reddit, this is kind of like, well, what do we got to lose? If they, like I said, if they weren't getting ads to begin with, then doesn't really matter to begin with. They lose the users permanently because they have nothing to gain from it, when the whole point is for them to serve ads. And so continuing on, the developer just continues to explain more about the numbers. I won't really go too deep into it. If you want, you can pause the video and read it more, but he pretty much just breaks it down as for Apollo, the average user is 344 requests daily, or 10.6K monthly. With the proposed API price, the average user in Apollo would cost $2.50, which is 20 times higher than a generous estimate of what each user brings Reddit in revenue. So in basic terms, the third-party apps are being fucked. For the value that a Reddit user is on the actual app itself, and for the profit that they make, it makes no sense why there's the upcharge for the third-party apps, other than for the fact of saying, hey, you're using our shit and you're not official, so we're going to charge you more. That's really the only reason why they would do this. But yeah, this is not good. This is terrible. It's just like the shit that's going on with Imgur, where they're going to remove all not safe for work content, which pretty much destroys half of Reddit's content in general. There's a lot of porn on this website. There's a lot of it, and a lot of it uses Imgur, and now they want to become clean. They say, you know what, we're not having, no sir, no more not safe for work stuff. We're going to have only clean images, and this is going to be cats. And so a lot of people were upset about that shit. And then there's other things that are going on with the API stuff, where Reddit said they're not even going to allow third-party apps to access not safe for work content anymore via the API calls. There's a lot of shit that's really going on with this. And I just wanted to talk about this because I like reddit.com. I think it's a great website. I use it for a lot of things, a lot of information. And to see shit like this happen is very disappointing, because I use the app a lot. Well, not the official app. It sucks dick. That's actually a big reason why this is a big deal as well, too, in case you're wondering. And why there's so many third-party apps. It originally started because Reddit never had an official app. And then when an official app did come out, it sucked dick. It wasn't good at all. It just fucking sucks. And it's never been to the point where it outdid all the third-party apps. And so because third-party apps still did better than the official one, no one's had an interest to use it, alongside not wanting to see ads either. So that's just a quick explanation in case you were wondering why this is such a big deal, why there's so many third-party apps that people care about. That's why. Anyways, it looks like Reddit wants to kill third-party apps. I hope they don't. I enjoy it. I don't want it to go away. But if it happens, then so be it, I guess. It's going to suck. Anyways, yeah. Bye-bye.